Am I good? Tell him, Raheem. Are we good? Am I good? Am I live? I'm good? I'm good? Make sure? I'm good? I'm live. I'm live. Ladies and gentlemen, move over, Tesla. Kandi is going to be the number one electronic vehicle in the USA and then probably the planet. I am going to prove it to you today. And I'm going to show you how a little $400 million company is probably worth at least 7 to 8 times higher. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Well, we have no Newsbeat Show music today. I've been hijacked by the pump and dumpers here. That's okay. No music for you in the Newsbeat Show. But before watching this video, you must agree to the following. You agree and you have to write down on a piece of paper and pen that you hold Mark Melnick and T3 not liable for anything you might read, hear, think, hear, say on this video. If you do not agree to that, you must exit this video immediately. So while I did not get you the very cool Newsbeat Show music, I actually got something cooler for you. And it's probably, I would say, one of the most indisputable things that we talked about here. And we've been doing a lot of due diligence recently on a lot of names. Some of you, um, you know, bought into Inseego, and I got a lot of love letters from you guys as I called Inseego my number one stock of 2019. It was in my 2019 report. And I told you guys about it pretty much when it was in the 480s. I released it to the public then. The room had it in the 350s. That's just how we roll. A lot of things I do get you guys in both you and the room in a real-time basis. And some things like this, I do get to the room before you. It's just simply part of it, but still a lot of you guys capitalize in a big way, buying in Seago under $5 when you're obviously absolutely crushing it now. And congratulations to those people. I do have a couple people who actually emailed me saying they became millionaires for the first time based on Inseego in our 2019 report. So again, God bless you. Congratulations. And I just wanted to bring that up. But today, I'm going to talk a little bit about Kandi. And it's a name that we've been buying. So I've been putting my money where my mouth is in kind of an interesting way. And this trade might fail, it might work, but I just want to show you first how I approached it, and then just to show you, what has been happening afterwards. So right over here, we've been buying Kandi. I basically said to you guys on February 20th, I say likely buying Kandi before the close, stay tuned. And then what I did here was where the heck is it? Okay. Then I went ahead and I took a higher risk than normal. You saw I bought a 10-11 call spread for April, paid 25 cents to make 75-cent net profit, 25 cents to make a dollar gross. And I took a 10% risk, and some of you guys were a little thrown off by that number because it seemed a little high for you guys. And then what happened was on February 21st, as soon as I find it, on February 21st, I went ahead and I bought more Kandi. Why can't I find it? I announced that. That's weird. Okay. Well, I bought even more Kandi that day, and then what happened was, oh, did I post them here? And then what happens over here, I even bought more just straight June $10 calls on Kandi. That being said, I went ahead and I bought Kandi a few times, and I basically bought it right here on February 20th, bought it here on February 21st, and I bought it here on Friday, February 22nd. Now, you probably heard it before, all the electric vehicles, the big Tesla hype. Tesla's a $50 billion company. Now, the big problem is even those people who love Tesla, most of them don't own it for the one simple reason that Tesla cars are absolutely expensive. Tesla cars are absolutely expensive, and the car price is just, astronomically high for the average American. Even just doing a simple Google search here on Tesla car price, they say excluding tax credits, you're paying, 74 and a half thousand, and if you want, there's different models, 94,000, 135,000, and generally speaking, $74,500 is a little too much for a vehicle. Now, what if I told you there are vehicles that were going to swamp America this year, not in the long-term future, electric vehicles that were going to swamp in the future, in the near-term future in America that were extremely cheap, and I'm going to prove it to you. This is a little bit of a Newsbeat due diligence thing. I'm getting this out to you guys a little earlier, and there was some big news that I think not a lot of people, or not enough people, were actually talking about here. Not a lot of people were actually speaking about, and I just wanted to show you Kandi image, and I just want to show you what some of these Kandi cars look like. And it's a Chinese car company, and it's going to take over the United States. And they're these little cute cars over here. They almost look like they're smiling at you, some of these cars. Like, look at that. Look at that. Looks like that very happy, friend you have, or, a smiling little kid. It just looks like this cute little thing that's almost smiling at you. But this car is going to be the wave of the future, and I know you guys have probably heard of other Chinese car companies such as NIO, which is another Chinese electric automobile maker. And if you actually followed and did the due diligence, you'd realize there are about a dozen companies. But I'm going to prove to you today why not only Kandi is going to be the car of the future, but this $450 million company is going to be worth minimally 3 billion, probably closer to 10. If this company is worth $10 billion, these shares you see here will be well over $200. And I know that's a bold statement, and I don't think they're going to be worth $200 this year or even next year. I don't think it's that would be probably a longer term play. But I do think this stock is going to be worth at least $20 logically within between today and maybe 2 months from now. So I am making a bold prediction. I'm not just saying it's going to $20 and good luck in the future. I would say between now and the next couple months, it's going to $20. That's why you saw me just buying it and buying it and then buying it. And I bought it 3 days in a row here, even though I don't like this rising wedge so much. Now let me prove to you why, um, why this is going to be one of the biggest cars of the future and why this company is going to be big. First, I want to take you to um, this article. It's an article by a gentleman of Arthur Porcari, and he basically did an article talking about Kandi. Now, inside this article, and I want to thank him for a lot of the information that I'm using here. I will be quoting some of the things he uses to give credit, where it's due. And I just want to show you guys this thing over here. And let's see, can we zoom in? Zoom in. There we go. Let me remove my face. And what you're looking at here is you're looking at 7 Chinese EV, stands for electric vehicle startups with private equity backing. It shows the year that they were founded. Kandi was the first of its kind over here. And I'm in Microsoft Paint, so I could just, show you, what's happening here. Kandi, KNDI, was the first of its kind, founded in 2013. Neo raised a lot of equity over here. And there's a lot of these stocks that have a lot of hope right here. And you can see that they all raised private equity with the exception of Kandi. Now, why this is a good thing, I'm going to explain to you why that's a smart thing, is because they don't owe any of these companies money, and they are about to break into the U.S. So when you see these little Chinese electric vehicles smiling at you like this, they literally, could you imagine, like you're driving down the road, and you see like this Chinese electric vehicle coming at you that looks like this, like driving like by your car, that's what you're going to be seeing soon. And I'm telling you this because the majority of people, have not ever seen a Tesla on the road. I know if you live in Cali, New York, you have, Jersey, you have, I have. Most people, most Americans haven't, just in case you weren't aware. So I look at this. Now, EV sold in 2018. I think this was a big one. That Kandi right here actually sold more vehicles in 2018 than all their counterparts that have raised billions of dollars. Total electronic vehicles sold through 2018, meaning the total amount of electronic vehicles that these companies have ever sold, almost 80,000 vehicles, 79,960. That's more than every single other Chinese electric vehicle startup combined times five, more than 5 times more the other major six Chinese electric vehicle startup companies with funding. Okay, we're going to get into also why this is useful. Number of electronic vehicles sold in the first full year in business, meaning when Kandi came out in 2013, they sold 10,935 vehicles. These other companies did nothing but raise money. They haven't sold a single vehicle. Okay. Electronic vehicle sales, the revenues from their first year, obviously they're the only ones with revenues, $215 million. This is, by the way, a $450 million company. The number of electronic vehicle models approved for sale, they have 6 different models approved for sale. The other companies have models approved for sale, but, haven't sold a lot, with the exception of NIO, which has 11,000. Comparatively to Kandi's, very little. Here is the driving range miles on these vehicles. Um, because there's so many vehicles, you could get between 100 to 226. They're already working on a car that could do more, and that is like shows you a large range of different vehicles that you can, you know, the range of these electronic vehicles before you have to charge them up. I look at these other numbers like here's like this Aichi Auto that raised 1.5 that has a pre-IPO private equity value cap of $1.5 billion. They are valuing these companies. So I want you guys to just take a look at these lines here. Like I want to show you this line right here. This line is what I find hilarious. Right here, this. You'll notice that our Kandi right over here doesn't have one of these lines right there. It's missing. So the pre-IPO, the private equity valued the IPOs of these companies at 4.5 billion, 5 billion, 3.7 billion, 1.5 billion, 3.1 billion, 3.35 billion, and $2 billion. Keep in mind that one of them with a valuation of 3.7 billion has sold 58 cars in total, while the others that have raised 1.5, 3.1, 3.35, and 2 sold zero. Now, it wasn't always bad for Kandi. When you look at the monthly chart, you could see this company was once worth $22.49, or approximately 2.5 times more than where it is now, which puts a lofty valuation of around $1.1 to $1.2 billion. The only difference now is Kandi is far stronger than it ever has been, ever. And I'm going to prove that to you shortly as well. So right over here, the funny part is Kandi JV is the name of Kandi JV, and we're basically comparing them to some of the other Chinese startups. The funny thing is, where you see an asterisk right here, where you see these little asterisks right here, like you see a little asterisk there and a little asterisk there, um, those are they were former Geely Holding holders, which is Kandi JV, under Kandi JV founder Li Shufu. So these were people who split up and started their own companies and broke apart. The only difference is Kandi started destroying them. Now, if you are watching Kandi, now removing from this chart of the fundamentally, I think it's very easy to see why Kandi would be more attractive based on that fundamental graph that I showed compared to some of the other car companies out there. Now, if you remember last Wednesday, Kandi gapped up tremendously, shot up to 885, pulled back, and just had its huge day on Wednesday. And this is what happened here. The U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration approved two of their electric vehicle models. Now, here's the thing what people are not putting together. There's something called a government subsidy. Every electronic vehicle car maker applies for government subsidies, and why they've been popping up in China is because China's been offering subsidies. Believe it or not, tied between China and India as the worst polluters on the planet for air, started actually trying to clean up their act. So what they started doing is they started offering government subsidies. Government subsidies, there are companies that solely survive on government subsidies. We're not even talking government contracts. Don't confuse government contracts. Boeing makes a lot of money from government contracts. They create planes for the United States military, for example. This is not a government contract. This is the government basically saying, we want cleaner vehicles on the road, so we're going to give you $7,500. That same $7,500 is the U.S. federal tax credit in October of 2018. People are thinking that this number might even go up. But for argument's sake, let's say even say it doesn't. Let's say it doesn't. Because what happened before they got approval for this is they got approved for a $7,500 credit. Now, these Kandi cars in the US are expected to go for $20,000. That means you as a consumer are going to be paying $12,500 for an electric vehicle. Okay. First of all the Prius owners out there who think they're making the world a better place by owning a Prius, those are going to be the type of people who are going to jump into Kandi. Not only that, people who want to save money on gas. It's kind of ironic that when you want to save money on gas and you want an electric vehicle, a pure electric vehicle, I mean, your only real option now is Tesla. I mean, I was looking at the BMW i8. It's the fancy looking BMW electric car. And I went to the BMW dealership here and I was asking them about the i8 and I was looking at the price tag of the i8. It was a blue i8 right here, an electric vehicle. And I was like, that's $190,000, which baffles me because the people who want to save money on gas are the people who are trying to save money and don't have that sort of money to buy a $190,000 vehicle. The people who are trying to save money cannot afford the cheapest Tesla in general. People who are buying a Tesla and saying, well, I'm saving money on gas are the same people who can afford to pay for gas. This is going to be the first time in the United States of America where it actually makes sense for consumers to purchase electric vehicles that don't require gas. Now, I could go into the fundamentals of why Hertz is going to have an electric vehicle car lineup of these cheap little Kandi vehicles and all these companies because they don't require any money for gas. And they're going to be able to have charging stations as they're popping up all over America. Now, remember, I was not really the biggest fan of Tesla. I was not the biggest fan of Tesla, not because I didn't like their cars look beautiful. They look like spacecrafts. I love it. They look great. I'm not a fan of the marketing behind Tesla because Tesla cannot make money. Kandi can make money. With all these government subsidies coming out, if if a US citizen could pay $12,500 for an electric vehicle and literally never need to be able to pour a drop, this is not a hybrid, a drop of gasoline in their engine ever again for as long as they live, this is going to take over America by storm. It's going to take over by storm. 5, 6 years from now, it would not surprise me if 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 2 vehicles are electric by that time. I wasn't a fan of Tesla because of the price of the car. It's too expensive for the average US consumer. They needed to have a cheap car. $75,000 is not a cheap car in the general scheme of things for the average US citizen. 12,500. Now we're talking. See, the funny thing is people didn't even go into the leasing aspects of these. People are going to be able to lease this car for around $60, $70 a month. Do you understand that? They're going to be able to lease these cars for $60, $70 a month. What does your gas bill look like if you work in New York City and you drive to New York City? Well, I calculated it. I have a lot of friends who drive from my area and work in the city full time, and they literally make 10 trips a week. One to the city, one back home. One to the city, one back home. How much money do you think those 10 trips? I live an hour from New York City right now. How much do you think they're spending? And Jersey has cheap gas compared to New York. They're filling up in Jersey. How much money do you think they're spending a month on gasoline? $650 to $700 a month based on traffic. Now, granted, they're using fuel efficient vehicles. They're using fuel efficient vehicles. They're using fuel efficient vehicles. You know what? It's going to be cheaper for them to just literally save money by getting a Kandi and just driving to work and back. And you're going to see this little smiling vehicle driving on the road past you. Such a happy little car. So what happens here on February 20th, 2019, is that the U.S. National Highway Traffic Administration approved two of their vehicles. They are going to start flooding into America. The only thing wrong why Tesla didn't explode, I mean, the stock Tesla exploded, it's a $50 billion company. Why you don't see Teslas all over the place, unless you live in some ritzy part of California, why the average American doesn't see that is simply because they're too expensive. Now, there was a 60-minute tonight, on 60 Minutes tonight, there was a talk about electric vehicles. On 60 Minutes, they say an electric car lifestyle. They're basically, just to show you, in 60 Minutes, right here, February 24th, 60 Minutes, they're doing Chinese automaker NIO wants to do more than sell cars. It wants to become a status symbol. In China, an electric car lifestyle is the name of it. And you can see right here, they have like very fancy looking like sports cars in China, but China is destroying the US electric vehicle production. You had to be out of your mind if you thought the United States would be able to take over China when it comes to any automobile cost. China has such mass production and cheap labor with so few environmental regulations. They don't care if they poison the air around them to make a vehicle for 10% cheaper. They could do that. You can't do it in the United States. So if you think about it, right now China is agreeing to do a lot of agriculture, do trillions of dollars in agriculture deals with the United States to calm down this trade war. And what they're going to do is a counterpunch response after giving in, um, and literally giving into this trade war, is they are going to dump Chinese vehicles in the US. And guess what? It is going to be cheaper to buy a Chinese electric vehicle than a United States electric vehicle 10 out of 10 times. This company is one of the most undervalued growth companies out there. This Kandi was a company that I never believed in. I never believed in them before. I mean, I looked at the stock. I've seen where this stock has come from. I didn't believe in electric vehicles. I didn't believe that China cared that much about electric vehicles. The company went up, it went down. It wasn't able to really perform in, this is a weekly chart, it wasn't able to perform really in the bear market. I am telling you right now, I think this could be 15 to $15 in a month from now, $20 in 2 months from now. Not only that, it's putting in the highest weekly volume. I'll move my mug over here. It's putting in the highest weekly volume it ever has. So behind getting approved for $7,500, this is already approved, by the way. This government subsidy on Kandi vehicles, they got it approved. Now the highway, the United States Highway Transportation System approved their vehicles on the road. There's nothing stopping them from just opening up a plant here or shipping cars over from China into the United States and giving Americans finally an electric vehicle solution that they can afford. A lot of interesting things happening also. Like I just have a question for you guys out there watching on Facebook and YouTube, and I would love if you shared your opinion here. So we were watching the triple Qs on we're watching the triple Qs here on Friday, obviously, and you could see that the triple Qs um, topped out at 173.01. I guess the type of question I have for you is, what if you got a tweet that looked like this? And no, I didn't hack into Twitter and whatever. This is a real tweet. At 11:40 a.m., you get an alert that Q resistance is at 173.01. What if I told you that was your only alert for the day? What if that was the only alert that you have received the entire day? You got one alert from us on Friday in Twitter, just one. And in that alert, it talked about the triple Qs hitting 173.01 at 11:40 a.m. Now I want to show you something right here on the triple Qs. I know I cheat because I have a time travel machine. It's really not fair, but I want to show you a 1 minute here of the triple Qs. Here's a 1 minute of the triple Qs. You got the tweet at 11:40 a.m. Eastern Standard. Look at it right here. The Qs right here at 11:40 were between 172.89 and 172.99. Right here is where you got the 1 minute alert that the entire triple Qs can top out at 173.01. Hits 173.01 to the penny, falls, never looks back for the entire day. Never looks back for the entire day. We gave you the triple Qs to the penny. How valuable would that be for you? Well, what if I told you for just $49 for your first month, you can try being part of the largest, fastest growing trading room in the nation? Link is within the description. Would love to know your opinions on that. Would love to know your opinions on Kandi. Happy trading, make money. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.